If I could dom one famous person, and I've always said this, it would be, what is your favorite implement for causing pain? I think the feet has a lot of... What got me into leather and latex was hopefully hosting really fun fetish and kink parties. This next question is kind of interesting. I'm Mx Tomie, and this is Uncensored. We are going to go through more of your anonymous Ask Me Anything questions today, so strap in. First question, what did you study in college, and where do your academic interests lie? Are these still the same? So in college, I was a philosophy and English double major, and I was going down the law track. Right now, I'm still a really big reader. I've been writing a little bit more just to keep some of like that creative energy going. And I think like the same reasons I like philosophy are the same reasons I like BDSM, right? Like you're kind of working with the contours of like morality and the way people think and go about the world and how they perceive themselves and move in society. And I think those are still pretty much the same, and I get to explore all of that in my work now. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? In 10 years, I think like every single year, I grow a little bit and I find out more things about myself. I would hope that in 10 years I'm still doing this. I really, really enjoy doming. I really enjoy the BDSM community. And I hope in 10 years I would have created something really valuable for this space. And I'm not quite sure what that may look like, and I'm taking it year by year, but creating a really good sub community, hopefully hosting really fun fetish and kink parties, maybe, having just like bigger, better content as time goes on. And yeah, I see myself still as Dom. Favorite Dom to duo with? That's really hard. I mean, every single Dom that I duo with is a different chemistry, right? So, I have a lot of friends in New York that we know each other so well that when we're playing together intuitively with a sub, it goes pretty seamlessly. It's hard for me to answer who is the favorite though, because I think everyone brings out something different in me. If you could dominate one famous living person, who would it be? How about one famous person from history? If I could dom one famous person, and I've always said this, it would be Daniel Day-Lewis, because he is such an immersive actor, and I think he would be really fun to do like a complicated roleplay session in. I also really liked his performance in Phantom Thread, and Phantom Thread is like kink adjacent, and I really quite enjoyed that. For one famous person from history, hmm. I've always been fascinated with like Cleopatra, just such an intelligent woman, really ran like Egypt in such a fascinating way, and also like a famous seductress. I think maybe there could be some really electric domination or like switching back and forth that could happen with her. I think she would be someone really fantastic to be in a room with in general. What is your favorite implement for causing pain? Favorite implement is my fists. I do like a good punching a beatdown session, and there is something about like flesh on flesh that feels really good for me. I actually have some scars on my pinky from like doing a beatdown session that like went really hard and like some of my skin came off. But for more artistic sessions or sessions that require more implements, I love scalpels, I love knife play, and there's always like the classic paddles, like some of that is really good for me too. Would you ever date a sub? I think I answered this already in some way, but subs who I am in an arrangement with or in a long-term DS dynamic with, that is what I consider like romantic with these individuals. What is something that you learned about yourself that was kind of surprising? I think in doming, Something that I found surprising about myself would probably be, mm, when I started, I always knew I was a hard sadist, but I didn't expect myself to be as playful as I am, once I got comfortable in my domination. And I think that's something that really came out of me as I sort of like loosened up and also like let myself explore the less serious sides of my domination. And I didn't see that when I was starting off. And maybe that was like a personality change as time went on too. But it's something that I really like now, and I really like subs who can play along and laugh. And, if a scene goes in a weird way, they can really move fast with me in that moment. Do you find any of your subs, personal/professional ones, hot? Yes. And I'm going to leave it at that. There are some really gorgeous subs out there. As a Dom, what would you say is your favorite aspect of foot worship? Also, I'm a fan from France and I absolutely love your work. Well, thank you, French sub. What is my favorite aspect of foot worship? Um, I think the feat has a lot of historical and cultural connotations that really gets tapped into when a sub is worshiping them, right? We're on our feet all the time. There's, you know, Bible verses and like religious connotations around like foot washing as a sign of service, as a sign of like deference. I think foot worship is also a really easy way to tap into like being on the ground, serving someone, and also at the same time like recognizing that level of service is something that's foundational to a person. Um, there's also the more primal parts of my personality where I like foot worship because it feels good. There's a humiliation aspect to it for people who want like to be stepped on, right? There's play around like foot sweat and stuff like that. That's also pretty fascinating to me. It's a really versatile way to go about playing, and I think it's also a really good way of starting off a scene. Do you have a favorite style of sub right now? I think my favorite style of sub is people who are really aware of their kinks and fetishes and approach it in a healthy way. I think that it's always been the case. Yeah. I also like subs with a healthy sense of ego. And what that means is there are some submissives who are like whimpering, pathetic messes all the time in a very real world way that is not attractive. I like subs who have a robust personal life, and then they're able to submit to me and allow me into that vulnerable side of their personality. This next question is kind of interesting. Favorite airline, favorite airport, and least favorite airport, and um in little bookmarks, and why is in New York? Oh my gosh. Okay, right now, there's not a lot of good airlines, but I use Delta the most. I have like a loyalty program with them. My favorite airport in the US, that's kind of hard to say. I like LaGuardia. They revamped it and it's nice, but internationally, the Singapore airport is good and the Dubai airport is also nice. Least favorite airport would probably be Buffalo or the Burbank airport. Just like not a fun place to be in. Kind of dry, and also like not a lot of personality, not a lot of good food there too. Do you smoke cigarettes? I have been trying to quit nicotine for a while now. I do smoke cigarettes, but right now I don't buy it. And if like a friend has it, at the bar, I'll have one or two, but I don't smoke it recreationally. And I am trying to very, 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 very hard, like I'm trying really hard to stop smoking nicotine and failing pretty badly at it. Does cross-dressing make a person gay? Cross-dressing does not make a person gay, although I have found for some subs they might be gay and they're cross-dressing as a way to tap into their femininity, right? But cross-dressing in itself is just an act. It doesn't have any implications on your sexuality unless you already have those implications about your sexuality, and cross-dressing is a way to access it. What got you into BDSM and leather or latex? I've always been kinky my whole life, and what got me into leather and latex was leather specifically was in high school. I was on Tumblr and I saw some creepy yeehaw lingerie, and I was just immediately drawn to it. I thought it was really beautiful. I actually didn't really get into latex until I started professionally doming, and it was highly requested, and that's how I got into latex. I still remember the first time someone requested latex on me, and it was this Hasidic Jewish sub when I was back working at a dungeon in Bushwick, and he very specifically only requested latex gloves. And when I asked him what he liked about it, he said, latex is a way to show the body more clearly, even though you're covering it up. Like the shine of it, the way the light reflects on it, allows him to see me better, and especially like my hands better. And that always stuck with me, and that's what got me into latex. I thought that was like, it was such a beautiful way of describing a material and what it does for a person. And I also like the contrast between, you know, covering yourself up, yet everything becomes even more crystallized, and even like tighter, and it's almost like the soul shows through. I think that's really beautiful. Would you want your boyfriend to be dominant or submissive? I think I want my boyfriend to be a good person. um, if they're dominant or submissive, I think I would always want a partner who understands how to tap into submission and service. I think that's an important part for me personally. I have to say I am not attracted to like cishet men who are so tied to an idea of dominance and masculinity that they are afraid of letting that go because there's such a fear of their ego being shattered just by a woman taking the lead. I don't find that attractive at all. And I would want a boyfriend who is very strong, even in their submission. And I think you can be strong in your submission. Have you ever thought, I am being too sadistic, maybe I should slow down? When I have those thoughts, it is usually because the sub is saying something or their body is indicating that they cannot handle it anymore, and I will slow down if that's the case. I have never slowed down because I was afraid of my own sadism. And I always look for subs who can handle me in that state. And that's why I look for subs who know their body very well. They know their limits. And we have enough of a chemistry and relationship for that communication interplay to happen if I am being incredibly, incredibly sadistic. I never let it get out of hand, right? Or I never sort of like allow myself to be so wrapped up in my primal urges that I forget about what the sub is going through. There's only a few times where I've had a sub really encourage that out of me, where I can fully let go, and I think that's really special when that happens because it tends to be pretty rare. What's your favorite type of cuisine? I love East Asian food, so Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, like all of that is my go-to whenever I don't know what to eat. Those three are like for sure I'll be satiated. How much chastity is too much? As much as you can handle. I've had subs who have been in chastity for years, and if that is what you can handle, then you can handle it. For multi-year chastity, though, you know, of course you have to be able to have a cage that you can take off and clean and stuff like that. Hygiene is important. And yeah, as much as you can handle. I think I have one sub who has been in chastity for like 3 years at this point. I think he takes the record right now out of all of my chastity subs. Do you like SPH? I do like SPH because it is such a simple, straightforward, and like effective way of humiliation. And while, there's some discourse around like body shaming and stuff like that, if you have those insecurities and you're able to eroticize it, I would love to press those buttons. How do we find someone like you? Sad face. You can't find someone like me. There's only one of me. But if you look around, there might be other doms with similar types of personalities, but there is no one-to-one replacement for me. What's the best cosplay you did? I really love my latex Bowsette and latex Peach cosplay. I think I just looked fantastic in that one. Thank you. And shout out to my makeup artist, Rory Alvarez, for doing such a good job on my wig and my face, and just, my face so well. And I think a close second is probably my latex Makima one. I think she's just a character that I resonate with really strongly. How tall are you? I am 5'5.5". Would you ever want a family? Or is that not something you're interested in? I think I am interested in that. I think family is important. Is that something that I'm like chomping on the bits to have currently? I don't think so. I also think like the concept of family doesn't necessarily have to be nuclear, right? It doesn't have to be like one man, one woman gets married and they have like two kids and they have a white picket fence. I think family can look like whatever is the community closest to you that you can rely on, and you have a strong enough bond to go through life. And I think everyone needs that kind of like nuclear community in some shape, form, or fashion. Would you consider urethra sounding me with your finger and wearing my cock like a ring? Are you proposing to me right now? I would love to. How bad do those floggers and canes and stuff really hurt? You're gonna have to find out for yourself. Everyone's pain tolerance is different. For some people, they can't take it at all. For other people, floggers feel like a massage and canes feel like the worst thing in the world. Your body responds to stimuli differently depending on where it's being hit, the type of pain. Is it sharp? Is it thuddy? It depends on your mental state that day. If you're like deep in subspace, maybe it doesn't hurt that much at all and it feels really good. If you're not in that headspace, maybe a little flick is going to hurt like hell. It really depends on your body, the person. So explore on your own and figure it out for yourself. And our last question. Do you have a permanent chastity slave? Yes, I do. And it is that sub who has been in chastity for me for 3 years. I don't have any intentions of letting him out anytime soon, and I think he's quite happy in there. At this point, also, like, his sexuality has kind of evolved beyond the need for, stimulation between the legs. And now his, like, sense of pleasure is a lot broader. And I think that was the original intention when I locked him up, for him to not be so focused on pleasure there. That is all we have for now for the anonymous Ask Me Anythings. Thank you for tuning in to this episode, and I can't wait for you all to sink a little deeper and learn a little bit more about the BDSM community and a little bit more about me as time goes on. Bye.